toolsandmachinery.com.
Hi, today on our M&M tool videos, we're going to be talking to Sterling. He was pressured in, but volunteered afterward to help us out with some common questions on nail guns. So I just told Sterling that sometimes when people come in for repairs, one of the big things that happens that you wouldn't think would happen but does, because we all make mistakes, is they'll put the wrong nail in the wrong gun. And so that's one. Number two is clearing out a jam. And then number three is different applications for the different guns. And so Sterling's just going to kind of go through those with us and help us out figuring out what to do and how to do it.
Well, thanks, Jim. It's good to be with you today. You know, you're right. Selecting the right fastener for the right tool is sometimes an issue for people. We want to make sure this is the Finish Pro 18 MG. This is a brad nailer. It's our 18 gauge tool. And when the customer comes in, Jim, you want to make sure that they get the right straight fastener for it. Our 16 gauge finish nail also looks very similar. It's a straight collation, and if they get the wrong one and walk out the door, they're going to come back and get out to the job site and have to come back and get the right nail.
Let's show them out these real quick so you
Okay.
can see. Notice the head on these. So just like Sterling said, they're both straight. And if you're not paying attention, it's easy to mess them up. But this is thicker in the gauge, and then the head on here is wider. So this has more holding power than this does, but you got to make sure and select the right gauge. Oh, I'm wrong on that.
Oh, you're right.
No, okay. And Sterling, how do the gauges work? Is it the higher the number, the smaller the gauge?
The higher the number, the smaller the gauge.
Okay.
That's correct.
Right.
So a 16 gauge nail, or brad, finish nail, is heavier than an 18 gauge brad. So obviously sometimes when you try and put the fastener in the tool, it actually looks like it will work. But as it tries to go through the nose of the tool, that's when they'll get a jam.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you have the right tool model. It's always best as the customer to come in knowing which tool model that you have, so that you can select the right fastener.
That's so true.
You know, the other problem that you talked about, Jim, was the jamming of fasteners. Many of the Senco tools have what is known as an Easy Clear magazine, and actually Senco was the first to develop the Easy Clear feature.
Cool.
The Easy Clear feature on this tool is just done by releasing this latch on the front, and obviously you want to release the spring pressure from the back, but you can just open the nose of the tool, and then the nails will actually clear right out the front, or you can remove them out the back, so you can have easy clearance to get that nail out of there.
Can you do that again, Sterling, so that for the camera on that front nose cone there?
Okay, so the latch is tight, and you just open the release, the latch on the front, and then you can clear the nail out the front or out the back, whichever is easier for you.
Cool. Very cool.
Now there's other tool models that have this same feature. All of our finish nailers, including the 16 gauge finish nailer, has the same feature, the latch on the front, and it opens right up so you can get that jam out of there.
Right, yeah.
And then also the 15 gauge finish nailer.
Which uses this style nail right here. So if you look at the head's a little bit wider. It looks more like a standard common nail. Okay, and so the gauge is thicker. Okay, so it's a heavier nail.
The 15 gauge also has the Easy Clear nose piece in the front. So when you have a fastener that's collated at an angle, where you have an angled magazine like this one has, it's not as difficult. You don't get those mixed up as easily as you would with a 16 or an 18 gauge that is a straight collation.
So makes it a lot easier to tell what nails go in what gun when they look different. You know?
Absolutely.
So the 16 and the 18 are pretty common.
Right.
And then framing nails too, you told me, Sterling. And actually Sterling educated me earlier. But on framing nails too.
Framing nails, throughout the United States, there are various areas that will either use a clipped-headed nail, or there are some that require a full round headed nail for different coat applications. The difference on the nails with the framing nails is they're generally either a 20 degree or a 21 degree nail on the full round head, and a 34 degree on the clipped head nails. They both look like a framing nail, but when you try and put them in the tool, you need to be sure which model of framing nailer you have. If your tool is a 20-degree angled magazine, you want to make sure that your nails are at 20 degree. If it's a 34, or even in some areas there's 28 degree, there are various angles, Jim, that really could make a difference in whether the nail will work properly in your tool.
So the clipped head, Sterling, does it just look like that but with a flat side on the head?
It does. The nails are collated tight together and closer together.
Okay. So,
And then just a slight portion of the head of the nail is clipped off on the back.
so the full round head will look more like a standard nail, and the clipped head will be a little different.
Right.
So,
Jim, another tool that I wanted to show you today was the Finish Pro 11. The Finish Pro 11 is our 23 gauge headless micro pinner.
cool.
So it's even smaller than our 18 gauge brad nailer.
Yeah.
The advantage of the 23 gauge finish or micro pinner is that you can use it for real fine detail moldings, maybe a decorative molding around a mantle or somewhere where you've got real fine detail molding to put on. Doing returns on base and casing is also another high volume application for this. As you can see, it is quite a bit finer than the 18 gauge, and it's a headless pin too. Mainly it'll do a lot of work where all you really need is for the glue to dry if you pin something into place. Now, as you can see, this is a 2-inch micro pin. That's one of the longer ones that are available on the market, and we're happy that we have a 2-inch micro pinner. We also do have a model that's the Finish Pro 10 that will drive from 1/2 inch through 1 inch.
Cool. Okay.
But this one will go clear up through 2 inch. The 2 inch you can just load very easily. You notice that there are some arrows on the pins. The arrows need to be pointing down towards the work surface. You just insert the pins and then close the magazine, and it's ready to go. There's no external safety on the tool, so you don't have to worry about pushing down an extra work piece that can damage your surface of your wood.
And also, when you're using a pin, sometimes you're in real tight spaces, so it's really nice to not have something else that sticks out further.
The tool does have a safety feature on it where it's a double trigger, so you have to first pull back the first trigger, and then it also has a trigger lock on it on the side of the tool, so then you can pull the trigger. So that's an extra safety feature, so that when the tool is left unattended, you don't have a smaller child or someone come up and accidentally pull that trigger. So it's a good idea to use that.
Yeah.
The tool also has a rear exhaust, which is adjustable 360 degrees, so that you have no air that comes out the front of the tool, so you don't have dust that may pop up and blow into your face or into your eyes.
Right.
Of course, if you're wearing your safety glasses, you don't have to worry about that
Hopefully
either.
that'll work. Yeah.
But as you can see, it's a nice tool. It does a lot of fine detail moldings, and a very good option for those opportunities where you have to do fine detail work.
The 2-inch pins are really becoming more and more popular now, because a 1-inch pin can do the really fine work, but for longer, deeper stuff, you got to have a 2-inch pin. So around here, we've noticed people either want the 1 3/8 or the 2-inch pinner. Just it makes life it's more versatile in its application. So.
Well, thanks, Jim. It's been great to be with you today.
All right, thanks, Sterling. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Toolsmachinery.com.